Are you outfoxed? We now live in a nation where the press destroys information in which its people receive in America. Most people already know that the media is bought and paid for from the top to the bottom. And of course, how couldn't it be when there are only 6 corporations worldwide that own the networks feeding the people globally, all from the same source? I mean, just think about this, folks. They're all saying the same things at the same time.
The final days of the campaign can get a little salty.
The final days of the campaign can get a little salty.
The final days of the campaign can get a little salty.
The final days of the campaign can get a little salty.
The final days of the campaign can get a little salty.
The final days of the campaign can get a little salty.
Well, the final days of the campaign can get a little salty.
The final days of the campaign can get a little salty.
The final days of the campaign can get a little salty.
The final days of the campaign can get a little salty.
As you probably noticed, the final days of the campaign have been, well, you might call them just a little salty.
Some networks such as CNN even went so far to just simply create the news giving the impression that war was inevitable when in fact it was completely contrived.
It was almost exactly 2 hours ago when the sirens went off here in Saudi Arabia. Where we are in eastern Saudi Arabia, there was no problem. However, there was an intercept elsewhere near the capital city, Riyadh. We've got some videotape of that you can take a look at right now. Some reported airbursts that may have been an intercept of an incoming Scud missile. We're really not sure. All we know is that the air raid sirens have gone off, and we've heard the outgoing roar of at least one Patriot missile. We've heard some sort of airburst. We can't tell where it was from where we are right now. We're waiting to see what's happening. As you can hear, the air raid sirens are still going off around us. Can't see much of anything, and frankly, this is what we can show you on television right now because of military restrictions from both the Saudis and the U.S.
CD, if you need to take cover, I notice that you've got your gas mask in your hands. If you need to put it on, please do so. If you need to take cover, please do so. If you are able.
Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look. Je suis un journaliste américain. Geopolitics by Dan Quayle. Boy, did I almost look stupid. Charles Jaco, CNN, reporting live from Saudi Arabia. Charles Jaco, CNN, reporting live from Saudi Arabia. From Saudi Arabia. From Saudi Arabia.
Let me say hi.
Sounds like William Randolph Hearst when he said, "You furnish the pictures and I'll furnish the war." Also from CNN, Amber Lyon, she recently told the world that she was ordered to delete unfriendly stories adverse to the Obama administration and to construct stories in specific manners while working for the left-wing network.
What's being told here is the way that these networks want to spin the truth, and that's leading us into another potential conflict with Iran.
She said CNN is paid by foreign and the U.S. government for reporting on some events and not reporting on others.
And after some investigation, we found out that CNN International is actually making money from the Bahrain regime. They are a customer of Bahrain. Bahrain is paying CNN International to create content that shows Bahrain in a favorable light.
She goes on, the Obama administration pays for CNN's content.
And after I came forward the first time about the Bahrain situation, my agent was called by someone representing the executives at CNN. And my agent was told that if I continued to talk, my severance and health insurance would be pulled. Well, now that Obama is subpoenaing journalists to reveal those sources and essentially saying that they're criminals for not doing so, he has criminalized the profession of journalism. I saw the direct effect of Obama's actions at CNN. There were investigations that I wasn't allowed to do because they were too high of a risk of being subpoenaed.
And like Amber Lyon, a top German journalist and editor, Dr. Udo Ulfkat, has just gone public with some shocking admissions. He basically admitted that the entire mainstream media is totally fake.
Well, I've been a journalist for about 25 years, and I was educated to lie, to betray, and not to tell the truth to the public. And I'm going to stand up and say it is not right what I have done in the past, to manipulate people, to make propaganda.
He also talked about how the CIA gets control over all of the major journalists. In other words, they're bought and paid for as well. Are they controlled?
There's many countries where this happens, where you find people to claim they are respected journalists, but if you look behind them, you'll find they are puppets on a string of the Central Intelligence Agency.
William Casey, CIA director in 1981, said, "We know our disinformation program is complete when everything that the American people believe is false." Folks, did you also know that other networks such as MSNBC, ABC, NBC, and other mainstream outlets are as guilty as these, that they have lost all credibility whatsoever? This, of course, includes all of the mainstream media paper outlets as well. Well, the good news is, friends, we still have Fox News, right? Wrong. Firstly, for those that did not know, Rupert Murdoch, he's an atheist. Hey, Mr. Murdoch, I have to tell you, if there were no God, then there would be no atheist. Do read Psalm 14 verse 1 and Psalm 53 verse 1. And secondly, Rupert has partnered with Sharia Prince, who owns stake in Fox, as well as Twitter, Sita Group, ABC TV, and Disney, who is the Saudi prince Al-Walid bin Tali. Al-Walid stated that a strong American government is not good for us. Who's us? Well, if they're not trying to sabotage a Republican debate by attacking the leading contender in an attempt to hand over the presidency to Hillary Clinton.
In 2004, you said in most cases you identified as a Democrat. Even in this campaign, your critics say you often sound more like a Democrat than a Republican, calling several of your opponents on this stage things like clowns and puppets. When did you actually become a Republican?
Well, this may explain everything. Fox News is one of the top 10 contributors to the Clinton Foundation. Also, did you know that 40 to 60% of all comments made by the network are completely false or contrived? Oh, by the way, Fox is also renowned for pulling both sides, as if there were two sides to any issue, of the aisle into a debate only to gut the pith and marrow out of your blood-bought freedoms and rights. When in fact, what they are debating is unconstitutional and therefore illegal, rendering it null and void. For example, Obamacare, gun debates, abortion, homosexuals getting married, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But if you didn't know that, then I guess it doesn't really matter. You get the point. In P.S., we have one constitution, and we are a nation ruled by laws, not the opinions of a bunch of immoral news anchors, propagandists, useful idiots. Well, you get the point. And it is not so much what Fox says in many cases that should bother you, it's what they leave unsaid that should bother you. Folks, it's time for you to wake up, because going back to David Rockefeller in Baden-Baden, Germany in 1991, he's the guy that said, "We are grateful to the Washington Post, the New York Times, Time Magazine, and other great publications whose directors have attended our meetings and respect their promises of discretion for almost 40 years. It would have been impossible for us to develop our plan for the world if we had been subjected to the lights of publicity during those years. But the world is now more sophisticated and prepared to march towards a world government. The supranational sovereignty of an intellectual elite and world bankers is surely preferable to the national autodetermination practiced in past centuries." As William Wilberforce rightly said, America, you can choose to look the other way, but you can never say that you didn't know.